and also to facilitate the cooperation between sub-regional initiatives, power generation, integration. So as I mentioned, the sub-regional initiatives, we really need to bring all these sub-regional initiatives to the regional level. And also to develop consortium to undertake cost-benefit analysis for the Asia Energy Highway. So I think that is really a lot of ongoing sub-regional initiative already done a lot of work for economic and social benefit analysis. So this kind of methodology or modeling can be used for the regional analysis. I think we really need to develop this kind of mechanism to work together. So this is the World Energy Council. They just made this statement. I think this is really the current situation. So what I quote here is just the present available AC and DC transmission technologies for OHTLs, these overhead transmission lines, underground and sea cables, stations and auxiliary systems do not pose practical limits to interconnections. The main limits are political, regulatory, financial, and in an increasing number of cases, especially in developed countries, are the environmental impacts and the local opposition. So I think we really need to work on to address this kind of challenges together. So I also want to show what are the good examples, the successful examples to mobilize the political wills. This is what we have done for the Asian Highway. This was also one of the ASCAP's initiative to promote regional integration and connectivity through transport sector to connect different highways for Asian countries, and which include the three main components. One is the Asian Highway Network. Actually, if you look at the map, it's come from Japan, Korea, and it goes to Istanbul in the west, and also in the south part goes to Indonesia, which also include the South Asian countries. And second component is the Trans-Asian Railway Network. These two components actually already the intergovernmental agreement, the cooperation framework already signed, but it takes about 40 years to reach this point. And also the third component is about dry port. Dry port, if you see in many countries in Asia Pacific, they are landlocked countries. There's no seaport for them. But then with this kind of highway and railway network, and some of the landlocked countries can use this facility to export their products through seaport. So that is, they want, through this kind of intergovernmental agreement, and those landlocked countries, they can also access to the port and to export in an economic way. So I think that this is a kind of example we can think about, and also to work together to build up this regional institution and the consortium to work together to promote the energy connectivity. And recently, in addition to energy connectivity, I think there are a lot of things like transport and also ICT. So I want to show this is my last slide about how ASCAP can play a role to promote this kind of connectivities. And as a kind of intergovernmental platform, I think we can just provide this kind of platform as a kind of cooperation mechanism. There are a lot of member countries already expressed willingness to work together, and also this platform will facilitate the intergovernmental process. This year, in August, we will have our 70th session of the Commission, with the main theme is the connectivity, which includes the connectivity for transport, for ICT, and for energy. So in the future, if you look at Asia Pacific, sorry I just use this Granitex connectivity map, but we will develop the one for the Asia Pacific. But this one is mainly for the, they call the Pan-Asian connectivity, which includes the grid connectivity and also the ICT part. So I think in the future we will see like Central Asia and South Asia, all will be included, and as a kind of regional connectivity map. Thank you very much. These are the highlights of our activities. Under the biannual program 2014 and 2015, we're working in these 6 areas, from planning for the global energy transition to regional action agenda. In this presentation, I'm giving some ideas how IDENA can support or facilitate the activity of the deployment of renewable energy. And this is the renewable readiness assessment and advisory services. The renewable readiness assessment is a country-driven process which is to assess key policies, potentials, and technologies for renewable energy deployment. And now we are working with the government of Mongolia. Since last year, we have working the renewable readiness assessment Mongolia. But unfortunately, we have not completed the final report yet. So it's difficult to figure out a whole picture of the result of the readiness assessment. However, I showed a little bit from the assessment and some examples of the key observations in 2 fields: renewable energy resources and the grid integration issues. And from the assessment, these 3 issues are lacking: the capacity and knowledge building, cross-institutional cooperation, and research and development funding. And regarding the transboundary grand infrastructure development issue, these 3 issues are still unclear from the assessment: regional energy cooperation strategy, resource and technology, and the Asian supergrid, which we have been talking. And the renewable readiness assessment is the starting point. And of course, it's not the goal, it's a starting point. So after that, the post-renewable readiness assessment, we have provided advisory services. These are some examples at which we have been achieved recent years. The next is the Global Atlas, and this is perhaps the very famous, very well-known, the mesoscale data. Wind resources in this area, and next is the solar resources in this area. The Global Atlas is free of charge to identify the renewable energy resources. And now we have to segment the wind and solar, and now this year we are expanding to the geothermal and bioenergy. The next is the Africa Clean Energy Corridor. This is one of the leading program of the region. And this is led by the communique endorsed by the ministers and head of delegation from the Eastern and Southern African Power Pool countries. And this interconnection activities will be expanded Central America, ASEAN, and MENA region. This regional clean energy corridor concept is divided to 4 parts: zoning, planning, enabling, and capacity building. And the zoning is to identify the renewable power development zones and to cluster development and plan cost-effective transmission links to load centers.
the planning is integrated resource planning at the country and regional level to incorporate greater share of cost-effective renewables. The enabling is to open markets, reduce financial risks to boost renewable power investment. The capacity building is to plan and operate power grids with higher share of renewables. Sorry. This is the Alien Africa Energy Planning Program. This is related to the Africa Energy Corridor. And we have worked in the two regions, and the West African and South African power pools, the power pool model studies, with country detail studies. This activity is to provide planning tools and assist in capacity building and to provide investment advice. And also the such kind of interconnection issues. We are also studying about grid stability assessment. I'm sorry, this is not the Africa Clean Energy Corridor. This is the islands study result. But these kind of grid stability assessment we are working on. And also the grid and storage issues. This is also important. And out of people interested in the innovation activities. During the innovation cycles, we are working now on 4 parts: patenting, licensing, and quality assurance and standardization, R&D cooperation, and technology transfer. The quality assurance and standardization is very important for the market integration or the grid integration. We are working on these issues. And also the property rights and other issues in innovation technologies. And also the R&D cooperation. We are working on these issues. And the capacity building, as an international organization, this is a very strong point, the capacity building issues, because we can gather a lot of experience, lessons learned from the member states and also the international organizations, institutions, and a lot of experts, so that we can provide the capacity building course programs and to advise the making such kind of good programs to be improved. And the finance issue is also very important. And we are not aid organization, or we are not finance organization. And but we are supporting the communication with the financial institutions all over the world, and also we are working on the cost issue. We need the real cost, so that we have started the costing alliance to know the real cost of the renewable energy. This is the example of the cost studies. I don't study in detail, but these kind of issues we can provide. This is the renewable power cost, and this is solar PV module prices, and this is the PV system prices trend. These kind of issues that we can provide to facilitate the policy discussion in the renewable field. So what I have talked in my presentation are some example of which idea I can provide the support or the facilitate the discussion to the deployment of renewable energy. I hope we can talk and work together in this region. Thank you very much.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's already 4 o'clock, and I think all good things and all challenges have been said by everyone, and I think I don't have anything to say to add at this moment. By the way, thank you very much, Chair, and thank you very much for inviting me for this forum. And thank you very much always to the Mongolian government. And it's been my pleasure to work with you for the last 10 years. My name is Teru from ADB, working for covering energy sector, both working in China and Mongolia. And this is a very interesting topic, and first I heard these things, and then I thought this is too dreamy things, and then project person like me is like, I cannot take up this issue. This is too much. But since I got some mob from these people, and then they are giving some dreams, so I started to take up something, and then want to take it further. But I think I'm not interested in so much like a forum, big things. I want to start from small, but very solid. And the one thing that maybe Mongolian government did a great job by visiting to Chinese government is that the potential power trade can be happen between two countries, which is very, very encouraging. And then if Mongolian government, also the Chinese government, want us to be part of it, I'm very much happy to do so. Let me start quickly because my presentation is very boring. Just direct to how ADB can help. One is the knowledge support or knowledge solution. We can share the experience from other region, practical experiences to this region, and also technical knowledge. This is what I think ADB or World Bank also can bring in. We have a real project. We finance the project, and we finance to the technologies. And for example, recently we got approval from the board for the concentrated solar thermal project in China, and which is the first project in the megawatt scale. So we want to bring this information, the lessons learned to this country and much more wider audience. And for example, CSP, it's easy to say, but by doing the project, it's very, very difficult. You need a natural gas backup, you need a water, only sunshine is there, you cannot, build such power plant. So there's many conditions has to be behind, and which we experience, and then which we can bring to all of you. For example, another one is, which may be relevant to Mongolia, is that the wind integration, wind power integration into the district heating. And this is, about yet to approved, but certainly within this year it's going to be approved, and then we're going to commence the project next year. This is also very interesting business model, and which also can be applied for Mongolia, and then I'm happy to share the results of this project. We also have a technical assistance support on grant basis, and currently that we are working with different partners, some of you are here, to cook up some interesting technical support to push the Agency for Grid initiative, or maybe regional strategy for power trade for Mongolia. And within that framework, we can also do the regional conference, so on and so forth. So, I think ADB technical assistance could be very handy of anyone who wants to support this initiative. Second one is definitely we are financial institutions, so we are going to provide the finance. Through sovereign loan or non-sovereign means that are going directly to the private sector, and also we have a ability to mobilize another financing, co-financing, so forth, and then also the advisory services for any transaction. So that's it, and this is who we are, ADB. And lastly, I want to say that I think that this type of initiative working amongst the government is very challenging in this particular region because all players are big, and sometimes big guys become very egoistic, and they want to take a stake, or they want to be the leader, so on and so forth. So I think under this condition, I think a private sector has to play a great role. This country has technology. Chinese companies also have high voltage DC technologies. Japan same, Korea same, PV panel is also same. Japan, China, Korea. There's lots of business opportunities. So my point is that the wide business sector come together and then push the government to make a business. And as a result, it's going to be the good turnout for the region. So I'm looking forward to have some debate during the dinner time. If you have any good idea, good approach, who has any thinking outside of the box, I welcome to have a discussion with potential with Volker tonight. Okay, thank you very much for listening.
And these opportunities are in particular here for Mongolia, with the enormous energy resources for renewable energy generation that we have heard described earlier. With increased use of solar and wind in particular, affluence in energy with low marginal cost will be created. But this affluence in electricity will be unevenly distributed in time because of variations in solar and wind availability, but also in space, because some countries, like Mongolia, are more fortunate than others when it comes to resources. And these variations in space and time has made transmission capacity significantly more economically profitable and interesting than it was in a situation where thermal power plants were using fuels that were transported instead of electricity being transported. We heard from Mr. Liu that the problem of establishing transmission capacity is not a technical, not even an economic issue. It has much to do with lack of international cooperation on establishing such infrastructure. But we also heard that there are good examples from other sectors that it can be overcome. Many of the organizations that have been collaborating in Asia on the Asian supergrid idea, or the ideas of increased transmission capacity, has been non-governmental organizations and enterprises interested in this for economic and social reasons. Few governments have been engaged in this process so far, but I believe that the economic benefits of increased transmission will in the end be irresistible, even for governments. The issue of attracting investments, in particular foreign investments, but all private investments, is, as we have heard, much a matter of having contracts honored and the economic outcome being predictable. This is not only a matter of legislation. Legislation may not even be necessary. It is a matter of the actual experience of what is done. if independent power producers get power procurement agreements that are not honored, that will frighten all future potential investors and result in higher demands for return on investment and higher costs for future consumers or taxpayers in a country. For Mongolia, the opportunities are, as I said, immense. To be successful in developing renewable energy, you need capacity. And the capacity to develop renewables, as we heard from Arena, is not only a matter of a few engineers or good policy. It's a matter of having people in all concerned parts of society having the capacity to handle projects. This requires education, it requires training, and it also increases with experience. I have seen European countries going through processes of building capacity, and it is indeed important to realize that this is not only a matter of technical issues, it's also a matter of having authorities prepared to handle projects and to have the financial sector able and experienced in this sector. Finally, for Mongolia's role in the development of this scenario that has been described today, I think it is wonderful to hear Mongolian colleagues talking about a global supergrid. We need visions, but what we should all do is to act where we have the mandate to act. It is a matter of building our national grids, and it's a matter of building the border crossings to our neighbors. And I can indeed imagine for Mongolia that it would be nice to have power lines connecting Russia and China via Ulaanbaatar, via the mining district, and in the middle, a lot of zero marginal cost wind and solar capacity being available. Power lines are very often profitable, and they are always, in reality, more profitable than in the calculations made before they were built. The reason mainly being that, in reality, there are always failing power stations, failing other power lines, creating situations with large differences in prices where power lines really become valuable to society. And we rarely dare to include those extreme situations when we make the calculations. So to all of you with these grand visions in mind, take the first steps. It will not be a process that will result from a decision to build the Asian supergrid. The Asian supergrid will be the result of many small decisions. Thank you.
Бидний энэ ажлын үеэр бас өнөөдрийн хуралдаан дээр гарсан энэ яриа хэлцэг улам одоо өргөжин тэлж бодит ажил болох чиглэл рүүгээ явнаа гэдэгт итгэл төгс байгаамаа. Монгол Улсын ерөнхийлөгч мөн өглөө хэлсэн үгэндээ энэ бодлыг дэмжихээ илэрхийлээд ер нь эрчим хүчний одоо супер сүлжээ байгуулах Gobitec санаачлал ер нь ногоон эрчим хүч ногоон эдийн засгийн үзэл баримтлалыг бас тодорхой хэлсэнд бид бас талархаж хүлээж авч байгаамаа. Ингээд ер нь та бүхэн хамтдаа Asian supergrid, Asian Gobitec, Asian energy highway гэдэг ийм одоо нэр томьёонуудыг эдийн засгийн эргэлтэнд оруулж хамтдаа чадлаа улам одоо баяжуулж хөгжүүлж энэ бол одоо бодцол болно гэж. Мөн эдгээр сарын өмнө Япон улсад бид энэ чиглэлээр хамтарч бас ажилласан байгаа. Тэгээд Японы одоо SoftBank-ийн ерөнхийлөгч мөн ерөнхий сайд асан Хатаяма энэ бол хэлж байсан. Ер нь том мөрөөдөл энэ бол бас сүүлийн жилүүдэд Японы судлаачид, манай Солонгосын судлаачид, Орос хятадын судлаачдын чиглэлээр бас нэлээд судалсан ийм судалгааны ажлууд бол байгаа. Тэгээ энэ хүрээнд бол бас маш том анх хэлэхдээ бол хатаа ямаагаа хэлжсэн энэ мөрөөдлийн шилж чанартай байсан. Тэгээд саяхан тэр 3 сарын өмнө болсон уулзалтан дээр бол том мөрөөдөл бол эцэстээ хэрэгждэг юм байна гэж ингэж хэлжсэн. Тэгэхээр энэ бол өнөөдөр мөрөөдлөөс одоо бодит ажил руугаа орж байна гэж энэний одоо хэрэгжүүлэгч, санаачлагч, яг гүйцэтгэгч бол энэ танхимд төлөөлөл нь энэ танхимд хүрэлцэн хичээд байгаад бол үнэхээр таатай байна гэдгийг онцолж яа. За ингээд та бид бол өнөөдөр Улаанбаатарын эрчим хүчний хаалтын форумыг хамтдаа зохион байгуулад энэ том одоо сүлжээ байгуулах одоо Gobitec санаачлагыг дэмжих чиглэлд бол ихээхэн үнцэнтэй оюуны хөрөнгө оруулалт хийлээ гэж ингэж үзэж байна. Өнөөдөр оюуны хөрөнгө оруулалт та бүгдийн зүгээс хийсэн энэ оюуны хөрөнгө оруулалт бол өнөөдөр бодит хөрөнгө оруулалт одоо бодит эдийн засагт нөлөөлсөн ийм том одоо үйл